Have you ever felt like your photos are almost there, but something's off, a little something and you're not sure what? Well, I just came back from a recent trip and I was reflecting on some of the photos I'd taken and the habits that were holding me back from taking great photos when I was younger, and how a small shift in mindset and technique over the years helped me take some of my favorite photos. Make sure you watch until the end because I will also share with you a little bonus that will avoid getting this kind of nightmare in your photos. So if you're ready, let's get started. Good morning, I'm glad to see you. My name is Fiati Lambert, I'm a travel adventure photographer. Those are the photos I took recently, and I'm here sharing tutorials and adventures on YouTube, so please subscribe if you want to progress and get inspired together. Over this past trip in Japan and Thailand, and recently there was New York City, there's been a few things that I noticed, blockages that I used to have that were really holding back. The first one was literally not moving enough, not understanding that it's not up to me to create with what is in front of me, but it is up to me to create with what is in front of me. Let's go to the field in Thailand just to show you that example. So if you see the mountains in the background and the temple over there, what's happening is that I kind of wanted them to be aligned, but I was all the way there, so I'm trying to walk in order to align them, and I'm not yet there. Hopefully soon, but this isn't the shot yet, so gonna keep walking a little bit in that tobacco field in order to get that photo. And that is something back in the days I wasn't necessarily doing or ready to do, because I was like, oh, it's not there, that's it. I was maybe a little too shy to move around with my camera, if I'm very honest. There's another example. Tokyo in the morning, there's the Skytree Tower, and there's many different angles you can have it. But if you're trying to get a shot that is impactful, I needed to have that Skytree Tower in a small alley and have someone go in front or have a subject. I wanted to document a little bit of the morning life happening and have that frame. But I literally had to walk quite a bit in order to find that little street that was aligning perfectly with the Skytree Tower. And you can tell on the photo that this is something that I had to be intentional about. Sure, you can walk around and hope, but there's a moment where if you identify something that you believe could be a strong image, you're gonna have to commit to make it happen and move with intention. And that's what I did. And then I also waited a long time for the right person to come through in the shot, but I'm very happy with the result, and that's something I encourage every single one of you to do. And you know, sometimes we're not even seeing the shot. Why? Because we're not moving enough. So keep moving, especially if you're doing street photography and travel. Keep exploring, moving, keep your camera in hand at all times and see what you can do and how different angles can work. Second blockage, ignoring the power of tight compositions. What does that mean? Well, I'm gonna give you a very simple example to understand. I'm in a national park. What are you thinking when I'm saying this? You're thinking natural, landscape, wide angle, right? Well, yes, and also very tight, like 70-100 tight. In nature, yes, a long lens, not for wildlife, just for getting a feel of the place. And I'll give you another example in a second that happened in a small village. But here we're on a boat and the wide shot just doesn't work. It doesn't give justice to the place because it's so big and so wide. So I ended up going for the 70-100 to do very tight composition. We also had the sunrise rise just behind the mountains, which meant that my camera was getting a different type of light, a different kind of composition, and I was able to create differently. I was also able to isolate subject very easily because I had those tight composition, giving, in my opinion, a better feel of the place than if I had stuck to just a wide angle. There's only so much you can do with a wide angle. If you think about it, maybe in 4 photos, you can do a 360 at 60mm. But with a tight lens, you're gonna be able to get a better feel of the place and more details. Here's another example. It's sunrise. I'm in a small village in Thailand on an island. It's a fisherman village and it's built over the water. And now it's a big fail. This is one of those days, failed shoot, I would say, or planning at least. There's a few things here happening. Sunrise, I wanted the direction to hit. There's a huge cloud cover on the horizon, or like it's very hazy. The sun's only gonna lift up around and maybe an hour above that mountain. And on top of that, there isn't as much happening as I thought. Now, this is part of scouting, but what do I do now? I changed from my 2470 into the 1635, the 7200, and start focusing on individual stories, very tight and narrow. Whether it's a fisherman coming back with a calamari, or it's literally a monkey that is chained to that house, being at 70, at 100, at 200 millimeter allowed me to do that. The wide shot was just losing a little bit of the interest because it wasn't condensed enough, in my opinion. And there's a rule that I'm thinking a lot about is the wider the place, the tighter you want to be, and the narrower the place, the wider you want to be. The sunset that I went to on the evening before I walked around just to scout it was actually much nicer. And luckily for me, I had captured a few of those shots, and those 70 millimeter shots with the guys on the hammock or just the scenes of daily life work much better. And the light, you can tell, is so much more impactful on those sunset shots versus that sunrise shot. Which brings us to the mistake number 3 in a way, which is overlooking time and repetition. What do I mean by that? It's easy to get to a place and be like, I want the best shot now, and move on. But there is a certain beauty to knowing exactly where you are, how you're working a scene, how you're working a place, and understanding how the light changes, how the people change around it, what activity there is. And the previous shoot is really a great example of in progress working and understanding the place. So that is extremely important. Even if you do street photography and you're trying to get just candid things, you want to know in which circumstances you're going to be more likely to have those candid shots of people working versus people coming out at night versus people at the daytime, or whatever situation you're trying to get. And also, what about the light? Here's a great example. There's this spot in Tokyo, or a little bit outside of Tokyo, that I absolutely love. It has incredible small streets with beautiful light. And I knew that because I had been there before. The first time I got there, I didn't really know what to do. I hadn't been back. And this time, I knew that with brain and with the right ambience and going at a time where people would come out of work would be incredible. So I set out to go there for sunset. There was rain falling, and then it moved into the night, and there were a lot of people working. And I got one of my favorite portraits in those conditions, because I also knew about that shop that has a lot of light and helped me create that photo. Now, when I'm in location, I need to wait for it, right? I need to work with the scene. Maybe it's a little different. I need to also use the prop in order to give a little bit of that effect on the bottom right of the image, to cut out a little bit of the street and really recenter my action. But those are things I would have never been able to do if I hadn't been to the place before, if I didn't kind of know how it could work with different light conditions. And yes, you can be lucky, but lucky only gets you so far, right, in photography. And there is also a certain practice and discipline that you want to put into place so that you can get photos that are extremely impactful. So keep working your scenes. Great photos are rarely taken just like this, randomly. No, people have a certain knowledge of the place, time, and I highly suggest that you become an expert on your own place, whether you're in New York City, Tokyo, or London. Know where you are and how the space moves. As promised, the bonus. Okay, that one is very difficult. Wake up early. Not waking up early enough is a big mistake in photography, especially if you're in places that get very busy. If you think New York or Tokyo, and especially touristy areas, those places completely change, and going out at sunrise has helped me get some photos where there's only one character moving through, and those photos are extremely impactful. It just happened the other day. I was walking the streets of Tokyo early at sunrise. It allowed me to create photos that I wouldn't have been able to create otherwise. Why? Because I'm in Asakusa area, Skytree, there's a lot of tourists, and you don't get that light and that single subject like you can see in that photo that really, really shines through. That is only possible at sunrise when there's very little activity and there is a low rising sun. So please keep that in mind. And maybe in your place, that means sunset is a low activity where you can have the single subject. It depends where you are in the world and what time of the year it may be also. But keep that in mind. Try to go when there is barely anyone, when the world is waking up or winding down, and you'll be surprised by what you can create. Now, when you get out there on the field, if you need help with your settings, grab my free photography cheat sheet in the description with my most used settings and some tips to inspire you on the field. And if you want to learn more about your autofocus and real nail sharp photos, watch this video. If you want to understand and watch on the field action and how I shoot in the streets, watch this. And with that being said, remember, get out there, go shoot, try something different, try something new. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.